Hello and welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the final word. Azerbaijan nil, Republic of Ireland 3, and I'm joined by Paul Tierney and Gary Spain. Gary fresh home after his trip to Baku. Gary, I suppose just to start it off with, how was Baku? It was great to see all the fans, the videos, all that type of stuff from all the travelling away fans. What was the trip like for yourself?
It was brilliant, Paul. I actually love that neck of the woods anyway. I love the Caucasus, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. I know Armenia and Azerbaijan have no relations between each other, but all three of those countries are fantastic to visit. There's so much to do there. And so I absolutely loved it. But in particular, this was the first proper away trip in 2 years when Irish fans were able to go, to mix, to mingle, and to go to the game officially. I know some got in Portugal, but it was meant to be home fans only. And a lot of fans who went to Portugal didn't even try to get in. But here, there was no problem with tickets. Everybody that travelled got in. And it was fantastic. It was amazing just to be there. I mean, I flew on Tuesday, but some people actually went on Sunday and last Sunday. So they're gone for the week. And actually, the people that went last Sunday are only coming back today. That's because the way Wizz Air worked out, that the cheap way to get there was actually if you flew Wizz Air on last Sunday Wizz Air from Budapest and then Wizz Air back to Budapest early this morning. So those fans are actually maybe in some ways they had the best of time because they got there very, very cheaply. And of course, it's very cheap when you go there. People are amazing. They're very friendly. There is a huge interest in football there, but not in the national team. I even bought they have a football paper which is about 24 pages, and on the day of the match, it hardly mentioned the match. So maybe it's a bit like Ireland at this stage, to be honest, because they're all more obsessed. Well, I suppose we're more obsessed with Liverpool and Man United. Not speaking for myself, and teams like Arsenal, etc. They're obsessed with likes of Ronaldo, Messi, Real Madrid, Juventus. They're huge fans of Turkish football. Galatasaray in particular, Fenerbahce, Besiktas, Trabzonspor. They're all huge in Azerbaijan. They're much bigger than their own clubs. And so it is very much a focus on European football. They're not huge fans of the national team. There was I still can't find the official attendance actually, but it was no more than a couple of thousand. And it was very, very low key. I mean, you wouldn't know the match was even on. I was actually looking for a poster for the game because a friend of mine actually wanted a poster and I couldn't find one. I couldn't get him one. You wouldn't even know it was on. There was very little mention of it in the papers, etc. The game itself, there was massive security, but very, very few fans. But an amazing country, a beautiful country, lovely people, loads to do there, and it's really great value when you do get there. The only downsides probably, as you know, is the Wi-Fi became a bit of an issue, but I believe that was an issue for all the Irish media. There was huge issues, all sorts of problems like that, wherever you went. But look, it's a lovely country. It's not that poor. I think people maybe have an impression it's poor. They have absolutely loads of oil there, and I think they're trying to turn Baku into a mini Dubai, because there's lots of modern buildings and fantastic buildings springing up. We did some tours, had some fantastic time. I was asking the guide, there was this massive glass building, and he didn't even know the price of the apartments because they were never kind of publicly sold, and they were just all sold to incredibly rich people at no doubt eye-watering prices. So maybe a city of contrast, but there wasn't that much poverty either. I wouldn't want to give the impression that it's kind of a small elite living in wealth. The vast majority, certainly from what we could see there, people had maybe not as well off as they are here, but they had a reasonable lifestyle. They've certainly bumped up salaries considerably for people like the police, etc. And also a very safe city. There's virtually no crime there. It's very safe to walk around, even for a woman on her own at 1 o'clock in the morning. And unfortunately, you can't say that about Dublin.
Well, in most places. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I've nearly lost my voice from all the shouting I was doing at my match on Saturday, so apologies if I sound a bit hoarse. And obviously then shouting at the telly. But look, it's fantastic, as you said, Gary. Fans back officially. Don't have to break in and pretend to be an opposition fan. They were officially allowed back in the stadiums, and it seemed as though at the end of the game the players really appreciated. They went over, they clapped them. They were even putting out videos on the FAI's official Instagram account and all their accounts, of the fans and the players going over and all, which was great to see. And we'll come to that in a sec, but. Paul, Stephen Kenny's first competitive win. Let's talk about the lineup first. I have it here in front of me, so don't worry if you don't. So he went with Bazunu in goal, Omar Bambadelli, Shay Duffy, John Egan is in a back three with the wing backs James McLean and Matt Doherty. In midfield then it was Josh Cullen, Jeff Hendrick, and I'm gonna say Daryl Horgan was the attacking midfielder for a while, but he also kind of changed up with Callum Robinson every now and again. So there was Horgan, Robinson, and then obviously Adam Ida as well. When you saw the lineup, were you shocked? Because I know I was.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked. There's a couple of players there. Daryl Horgan in particular, I didn't expect him to start at all. I thought he'd done well, but he did get an assist. But besides that, there was a couple of times where he was a bit dodgy. A couple of passes, loose passes that caught. One in particular that caught James McLean out really badly, and they nearly got a break from it. Yeah, a bit shocked. I'm not surprised Hendrick and McLean were in, even though I didn't really want them to be in. I thought the two of them done very well, particularly McLean. He looked a lot sharper than he has done the last few internationals. But yeah, a bit shocked. But look, the result is the main thing, and at the end of the day, they'll all say Stephen Kenny got it right. So, look, happy days.
Gary, you were in the stadium and you were kind of wincing at me there when I spoke about Daryl Horgan. So what's that all about?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. Yeah, maybe. I thought. Well, okay. First of all, what I will say is Daryl Horgan did get the assist, as Paul said. I thought we looked a lot better when Jamie McGrath came on for Daryl Horgan. To be frank, I think he just suited the position more, and I think Daryl Horgan did give the ball away a bit too much, and so I'm not sure if that actually worked. And I'm not sure if it was maybe three up top with two in midfield, or maybe a 3-4-3 with the wing backs being pushed on into midfield or whatever. I'm not sure that Darryl. Now I know Stephen Kenny really likes Daryl Horgan. I was a bit surprised that he was picked, even having said that. And I don't think it really worked with that formation. And so I thought we looked a lot more composed, a lot more comfortable when Jamie McGrath came on. And no, I know we were 2-0 up at that point, so it's a very different game. But yeah, that was the kind of surprise to me. I wasn't that surprised with Jeff Hendrick. He is playing reasonably regularly in the Premier League, and he is an experienced player. James McLean was probably, if you'd asked me to guess the team, I probably would have gone for Enda Stevens, but it wasn't a huge surprise. I probably would be nearly flicking a coin whether it was going to be Enda Stevens or James McLean. So I can't really say I was surprised by that decision, and it worked well. James had a great game.
Yeah, I think Sheffield United had tweeted originally that Stevens wouldn't be in the squad, so I'd imagine he was just kind of brought in as a precaution, and then if anything did happen to McLean, that Stevens would probably play then. But he'd probably feature against Qatar. Look, it's as Paul said, Stephen Kenny got it right in the end. Maybe some of the stuff at Horgan, maybe that didn't work out, but at the same time he did create the second goal. We did go in at half time 2-0, which we'll get to. But I suppose we'll start with the start with Robinson's goal inside the first 7 minutes. I mean, we don't normally score too early in recent times that we can remember. We were usually waiting on the first goal up until very late in the game, and under Stephen Kenny we've often scored late goals, but they've often either been mostly been equalisers or a consolation goal. So yeah, Gary, I'll bring it to you. Just when James McLean went on the attack there and the ball fell to Callum Robinson after the week he'd had, everybody was coming out and giving him such a hard time. Now, look, I don't want to get into a whole COVID debate and stuff like that. Look, it's his choice. He came out and he said it. He said what he said in the press conference. And look, I don't really care as long as he's scoring goals for us and winning and help us to win games. That's all I really care about at the moment. I don't know how you feel about that, but
well, actually, I talked about it in my aftermatch and my 3 talking points, because I did want to talk about the football, and that is what matters. And I would want to make one point on that, though, because I think we have very, very, very different standards in this country when it comes to GA players and rugby players and football players, because our football players get an awful doing, and GA players are getting away with all sorts. Absolutely all sorts. And I mean, I'm not going to get into specifics, but everyone knows about it, and rugby players as well. And there's totally different standards, which I think is very, very unfair. Having said that, let's go on and talk about the football, because Callum Robinson got 2 fantastic goals for us. James McLean did well in the build-up and played a lovely ball through to him, but it was a solo goal, and it was all about Callum Robinson, although a good move to lead up to it. He took it on so well, and then what a finish on his left foot and into the top left-hand corner, and gave the keeper no chance. And look, 7 minutes gone. It was an absolute dream start for us, and we had, but it was good. We had started on the front foot as well. Now, when you score in 7 minutes, you can't really say the goal was coming, but it was a good start. It was a great goal, a great finish, and I suppose he's been the man in the papers all week. I would prefer if that didn't happen, and he shouldn't have been put in that position. But he just gave an honest comment in an interview or in a press conference, and but hopefully now it's just all about the football, because that was a great goal. It was just what we needed, and I'm sure it gave the team a great boost and a great confidence, because it was, as we all know, a nothing game. Qualification was already all but mathematically out of reach before Saturday. It is mathematically out of reach now, and but it was still a very important game, and for the way the manager in particular and the way the squad are going, and for the future. So what a start, and what a finish, and certainly I don't think that I probably didn't have much doubt that Callum Robinson was going to start. The only thing I was thinking was you fit, obviously fit, and unless Stephen was going to maybe take him out of the firing line, but no, it was absolutely brilliant, and it's great that he started and got the 2 goals. And I hope in future that's all we're going to be talking about, is his performances for his country and his goals.
Yeah, but I actually spoke to him in the press conference after all the COVID stuff, and I did feel there was a kind of sense of ganging up on him there. It was quite uncomfortable in the actual room while that was going on. It was quite awkward because it went on for a good bit. But anyway, I had said to him after that to kind of deflect away from all that stuff. Talking to him playing down the middle with the Irish team, and would he prefer that because he's getting better positions to, create chances and score goals, and that's exactly what he did. And he said, I'd love to be playing down the middle, whether it's with Adam or Aaron or Daryl Horgan. He kind of gave away Stephen's kind of tactics as well by basically saying, because Daryl Horgan wasn't the person I was thinking of when he did actually come out and say it. But anyway, and I was saying to him, hopefully he can get a couple of goals by playing down the middle, and he said that's the plan. So the plan was completed on Saturday. But Paul, what were your thoughts when the goal went in? Because it was the dream start that we all wanted, because we never come out really firing at the start of the game, and I suppose that's what we wanted to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you saw that goal last night in the Nations League final, you'd be like, you wouldn't be surprised. It was a lovely goal, lovely build up, and a great finish. In terms of it being an early goal, it's been a while since we've seen one of them. I think really, it's been a while since we've been ahead. Besides the Portugal game, obviously that early as well, And it was good. I think if that had happened in the first game against these, it would have been a similar scoreline. But I think that's what you need to do against the smaller teams in these groups. You got to get a goal early and then just pin them, because that's it. The longer it goes without you scoring, the more confidence they get. So brilliant start, brilliant goal, and it's exactly what we all wanted.
Yeah, no, that's it. I remember watching it. I was screaming down the house when the first goal went in. I couldn't believe it. It was an absolute cracker of a goal, to be fair. And look, as Gary said, we want to be talking about Callum Robinson in for scoring goals, being in the paper. We want to see him on the back pages with his celebration with the his fingers in his ears. I thought it was really good celebration. I thought it was important that all the lads went over and celebrated together, and it showed the togetherness of the lads, the spirit within that group. And he came out after the game as well and saying the lads have been there for him all week and stuff like that. Because I imagine it was tough. Like, he was getting called out on social media all week. Even when we put out the thing about the vaccine thing, we just had to put it out because it was a talking point. But people were jumping on him, and we didn't tag him in it, but people were tagging him in it, and I'd say it just got annoying for him. So what a way to silence the critics. It was brilliant. Just a couple of comments coming in there. DJ Cronin says, "Good day and good evening from Australia. Love your work." Thanks very much, DJ Cronin. And then Rory Coughlin is watching from Phoenix in USA. Says hello. Hey, Rory. Thanks for tuning in, lads. So yeah, that was the dream start. And then I think at that stage, I kind of have on my notes here from the game, there wasn't much going on. Also have good ball by Robinson, or by Horgan, sorry. That's the next thing, because it went from the Robinson goal, not much going on, and then out of nowhere, Horgan with this unbelievable ball to Robinson, which was kind of a disguised ball, but then Robinson still has a lot to do. He checks in on the right foot, has the strike, gets a bit of luck with the keeper, but how many times have we not had any luck regarding chances and shots hitting the post? And we were due a bit of luck. Callum Robinson, the form that he was in, it was going in, and we were 2-0. At that point, Gary, in the stadium, what was the atmosphere like?
Well, I suppose the atmosphere, I was sitting in the press box, which was the opposite side of the stadium to the Irish fans, but pretty much all you could hear was the Irish fans, and it was only about 150 maybe there, max. And but I mean, it's a massive stadium. I think it holds about 60,000. As I said, it was only 3,000 or 4,000. I couldn't find the official attendance. I did actually look, but so the stadium was a bit eerie, but it was absolutely brilliant, and you could hear the Irish fans all the time singing right through the first half, and in particular singing about two people. One was Callum Robinson, and clearly in support on that Paul Simon song, Mrs. Robinson. And I'm not going to try singing because I'll lose a load of subscribers if I did. And the other one was
I think I lost a couple the other night on the aftermatch reaction.
I'm probably the worst singer on the planet, so at least I know it. And the other one was Stephen Kenny, because the fans were talking about singing "Walking in a Kenny Wonderland." So there was no doubt where the Irish fans, where their loyalties stood. But it was just great. I think there was a huge. I could sense it from the away fans. Just huge sense of relief, of joy. And even just in general, there was such a feel-good factor. I mean, walking around the streets of Baku and meeting fans that you hadn't seen for 2 years, and just chatting to people. And it was just, I think even if we'd lost 3-0, it would have been a fantastic trip. I'll start with that. But the fact that we actually went and won, and it was just sheer elation for the fans, and it was really great to be there. And just getting back to the goal, because I actually didn't see the slide. I think he took a slight deflection, since I watched it back on TV as well.
It wasn't much though.
No.
Yeah,
no,
it wasn't much. Look, you need to. He put the effort on target. If he doesn't put it on target, hasn't got a chance.
Yeah.
And I mean, the keeper, yes, he probably should have. Yeah, he definitely should have saved it. But Callum Robinson still did well to make the chance, and then to get his effort on target. And if you do that, if it's on target, it always has a chance. And it went in, and 2-0 at half time was absolutely was brilliant for us. And we more or less, I think, had put the game to bed at that stage. Even though Azerbaijan, I was actually keeping an eye on the statistics, and Azerbaijan ended the first half with 62% possession, and they actually had created more chances than us. But if ever statistics, and I know the only important statistic was we had 100% of the goals in that half, but if ever statistics, I think, tell a lie about a game, I think that was one of them, because we also looked comfortable at the back, because in the first half, I don't think Gavin Bazunu had any outstanding save. Yeah, he had a few things to do, but it was pretty much bread and butter. Bread and butter stuff for any goalkeeper you'd expect him to do. I thought Shane Duffy was superb. I thought John Egan had a fantastic game. One challenge in particular by John Egan on about the half-hour mark was absolutely crucial. I thought Andrew Mbamidele did very well. I mean, he's already, I think, become, that's our back three. I mean, well, at least until Darragh O'Shea comes back and gives Stephen a very good problem, I must say, but a problem. And
you've got Nathan Collins there too, so we have really good options there.
Nathan Collins coming through, and you've Kieran Clark. I mean, he's playing. We have a player who's playing week in, week out in the Premier League, and he wasn't even in the squad. So
I don't think he suits Stephen's style of play, though. I think he's a real old school defender in the way that we want to play. Clark just doesn't fit the mould at the moment. But what you're saying is correct, and if we do need him,
but I would have said the same about Shane Duffy, though. But I mean, and he is suiting the style of play.
The thing with Shane Duffy is he's playing that formation week in, week out with Brighton, so it suits him a lot better. Whereas you look at Clark, I don't even know what formation Newcastle play. I don't think they know themselves the way they're playing. But honestly, I'd agree there. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you, Gary, but I think that is the back three. You've got the ball players in there than Kieran Clark as well, so that's the main thing from having a back three like that.
Well, I think, look, you could look at getting Clark. He said Clark for the November window, so he might be thinking, okay, against Portugal, we need to be a bit more defensive, and he might bring him in. But look, that'll be the discussion for a different day regarding Clark. But what you're saying is right, Gary, and that challenge by John Egan, I think he slid to win the ball around near the edge of our box. He slid to win the ball back on a counter-attack from Azerbaijan, and it was a really important challenge because it looked like they were in. And yeah, as you say, those three, the more I watch John Egan and Shane Duffy play together, the better their understanding is. I know they played together when they were younger, but there was a period where obviously Shane Duffy was the main man with Richard Keogh, and then someone else, can't think of the top of my head. But John Egan was either injured or something happened to Shane Duffy, and they weren't always playing together. But now they seem to have that bit of continuity since the summer, the June friendlies, and now they look really, really good together. And the fact that, you know, Duffy and Egan both look a threat in the opposition's box as well. You know, Egan got the goal against Portugal, and Shane Duffy always looks a threat, which we will come to. But yeah, I suppose then just all I have really from their point of view is we were just leaving them with chances from distance, and as you said, Gary, we were comfortable enough letting Bazunu just let them see them from distance rather than the game in Dublin where they had the one chance, probably closer to the goal than we would have liked. But we were allowing them shots from distance. They couldn't break us down. We were quite resolute and robust, which we want to be. We want to be tough to beat as well as obviously good going forward. And I think there was a nice balance there. Paul, going in at half time, your thoughts?
Thought brilliant half. I thought through the middle of it we kind of stood off a little bit, but beside that's probably where they got their possession from, because we did kind of stand off, and then the second goal kind of came out of a good pass from Horgan, as we've already mentioned. I was happy. I mean, the last time I seen 2 goals in a competitive game from us was Gibraltar in 2019. So I mean, I was delighted, and I thought there was more to come. Ultimately, there was, but good performance. A bit of it, I was thinking, God, why didn't we do this against them in the first game? But look, good performance. The main thing is the win, and good first half. And I was looking forward for more attack and play in the second half.
Me myself, I was thinking, right, we got to build on this. I think I put out a tweet. I think I put out a tweet and I said, you know, we really need to put this game to bed now. We can't just be relying on, we got 2-0, because they get one, then they were back into it. Gary, your thoughts at halftime?
Yeah, it was pretty much the same stuff. I actually thought we had pretty much the game to bed. I didn't really feel there was much of a threat from Azerbaijan. I mean, frankly, they're not a great side. And I was talking earlier about their country. There's huge interest in football there, but not in their national team. And partly it's because They don't have pretty much of a national team. Their Italian manager, and he won't try and pronounce whatever. He's under serious threat, and he's probably going to lose his job, if not this week, but certainly by the end of the campaign. They didn't seem too happy with him. I thought we were very comfortable. We were 2-0 up, and I didn't have too much doubt that we were going to go on and win the game at halftime, and that's the way it proved, obviously.
Yeah, well, the only reason I say that is because we don't look, we don't take the lead that often in games, and then going in at 2-0, we had been in that position other than the Portugal game and against a team that we should be comfortably beaten anyway. But I didn't actually realise that Robinson's goal was in the 39th minute, so it was quite close to half time. But Darrell Horgan went off, Jamie McGrath came in and probably gave us a better balance, as you mentioned, Gary. That is his natural position. He's better at linking the midfield to the attack. I really, really can't see him staying at St Mirren much longer. I think he's going to be a fantastic player for us going forward. Someone that I think it was Stephen Folan who played with him at Dundalk. He just said he's so well made for international football because he just doesn't lose the ball, and he's very good. There was one moment in particular, he had a good run down the right hand side, and he gives the ball to McLean, who probably should have hit that first time around the edge of the box. He kind of took a touch and took it away, but it was a real good bit of skill on the right hand side. Between the ball carrying, the bit of skill, and just the composure he has, I think he's going to be a really good player for us. Be interested to see if we do win a penalty, if he takes it as well, because his record's so good with St Mirren at taking penalties, but we will come to that. But yeah, I thought that was a really good decision by Kenny, who normally makes substitutions quite late on. Now, I don't know if Horgan got a knock or something like that, or if it was tactical, but I think that was a decision that I think paid off. Now, I know the score stayed at 3-0, but we did have a lot of chances, a lot of wasted chances, and I would be wary that those chances wasted in this game, if we had them in other games, when we look to put other teams to bed, they come back and haunt us. I know Callum Robinson could have had about 5 goals, I would have said, in this game. I would have liked to see him get the hat-trick, just to have the hat-trick then, and it's another kind of milestone for him, ticked off his box. So I just I think it's worth noting as well, because I'm not going to go into all the chances, but I think it's worth noting how key Gavin Bazunu made 2 huge saves at 2-0 to keep us into it. Again, shots from distance, but he gets the first one, he tips that over the bar, and it was a great save. And this is what we need, is, Dan Randolph was great at it. A lot of games where we were quite tight, and he'd be making save after save after save when we'd be under the cosh. Now, we were 2-0 up here, but we needed our keeper concentrating. And everything about the lad, he just oozes class, from his interviews, the way he carries himself, and then the way he plays. And he's just like an extra player at the back there, with the ball at his feet. He picks out balls, his distribution's brilliant. Future captain in my eyes, but I think goalkeepers never really get the praise they deserve, and I think he deserves a good bit of praise just for those 2 saves in particular, because that allowed us. I know we were still having chances, but he tipped obviously the other one onto the crossbar as well, which was likely going in. So I think we're finding that good balance. Don't forget the Serbia game as well. We're finding that good balance in terms of, we're going to have right our luck in games, and we've always done that. Shay Given was an outstanding keeper, and he always made big saves for us, and that helped us win games. That's part of football. But we look like we have a really good goalkeeper there who's going to really save us in games when we're struggling, and there's moments in games where we need our keeper to stand up, and I thought he was absolutely excellent. Paul, tell me your thoughts just on the saves, and if there's anything you want to talk about in regards to the other chances that maybe we missed that could have put the game to bed before then.
I think in terms of Gavin, we already know he's going to be a superstar already. You can see it the last couple of games for Ireland, and the fact that he's playing week in, week out for Portsmouth as well, challenging at the top of League One. It's great for him. He's going to be a superstar. He's going to be our goalkeeper for the next few years. Hopefully no injuries or anything that will curtail that. You compare him to their goalkeeper, where he lets them, their goalkeeper can be so good, but he lets them down so much as well that it kind of kills them of ever really competing, which is like, you need a solid spine, and we have half of that, and we're getting there in terms of the attacking side of things. In terms of the chances we had, Look, listen, we did get 3, but it's disappointing that we didn't get a few more. You mentioned Callum Robinson not getting the hat-trick. Would have been nice for him to get the hat-trick. He deserved it as well, and I think he's gone up another level since he did make that move to West Brom. Seeing him playing for them and playing for us as well the last while, he just looks a lot better. Yeah, it's disappointing, but hopefully we can get a couple now tomorrow as well, because that's the next game, and move on from there.
Well, there was another chance as well that McLean probably should square in a
Yeah.
great bit of play with Robinson. He should have squared it to Adamida, but you can see why he went for the shot there. Gary, I suppose I get your perspective as well, and you can see them coming on to us, and you got to see the Bazunu saves in the flesh. Were they as good as they looked on the TV?
They were, in particular, both of them actually. I was going to say in particular the second one, he kind of tipped it onto the bar. They were real quality saves. I mean, the other one he had to go full length to tip it over for the corner. And look, I've been a fan of his since I saw him at 16 for Shamrock Rovers playing in Europe. He is he's a fantastic young man. First of all, he's only 19. And but he is a brilliant goalkeeper, and he is definitely going to be around for a long, long time. And we're so blessed to have him. And then you're talking, remember, we have the Liverpool number 2 goalkeeper, I suppose effectively is our number 2 now, in Queven Kelleher, who's another fantastic young man who looks like he's going to be a top keeper for many years to come as well. And so we're pretty much blessed in that position. And as Paul was talking about the spine, I think we've a good settled defence now, a good settled back 5. We have Josh Cullen sitting in front of that, and either Gavin Bazunu or Queven Kelleher behind. So we've a pretty solid, good back 6 with a bit of cover in those positions as well, whether it's Seamus Coleman and Matt Doherty, whether it's Enda Stevens or James McLean. We've Darragh O'Shea, Nathan Collins, etc. to
Seamus
cover
Coleman.
for
As well.
Seamus Coleman or Matt Doherty. Yeah, sorry, I was saying it's right back, Matt Doherty or Seamus Coleman. Yeah. And
But the good thing is as well, Gary, is that we actually went into that game without Seamus Coleman and without Enda Stevens, and still got a clean sheet as well.
And without Darragh O'Shea. Yeah. So I would say about the chances, because if you split the game maybe into 4 quarters, the only quarter we didn't score in was the start of the second half. But it was probably our best spell, because we came out after half time having made the change, and we really took the game to them. And we may have sat back a bit at 1-0, but certainly at 2-0 at the start of the second half, we just went for the jugular. We created loads of chances. Okay, you can be critical and say we didn't take them. Their keeper made a number of superb saves actually in that period. And you could fault him, definitely fault him for a couple of the goals, but he made a lot of good saves at that time. And we looked particularly good going forward. And even though we didn't get the goal, they got the initiative back, as you say, and then those two saves by Gavin Bazunu were pretty key. If one of them had gone in, I think we might have been a bit nervy, but I really couldn't see us not winning the game once the second goal went in. But anyway, we'll never know that. But it was great to get those 2 saves. And I think the clean sheet, I did say it after the match as well, I think the clean sheet will give Stephen as much pleasure as the 3 goals and the win, because that was pretty important as well, just to get the clean sheet. And the first competitive, we got competitive clean sheets, we got scoreless draw in the Nations League, but the first
clean sheet as part
clean
of a
sheet in the
victory
group,
also.
yeah, is part of a victory, and the first clean sheet in this group as well. And I think that will give Stephen a lot of pleasure as well, because look, in many ways it was the perfect performance. You go away from home, you keep a clean sheet, you score 3 goals. You can't ask for anything more than that, no matter who the opposition are.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Obviously, we had a point in the game around the 60th minute, I think it was, where Adamida came off for Chiedozie Ogbene. But I think Adamida just didn't look himself, and he'd been sick earlier in the week, and he just didn't look as energetic as he normally is. And I think it was the right call to make. But Ogbene went up top, and he caused them problems throughout. I thought he was a really good sub. That must have been really nice for you, Gary, to see a player who you'd obviously come through the ranks with Limerick, and you'd have probably watched him week in, week out when he was at Limerick.
Yeah, I mean, his only previous cameo was only about 5 minutes in in Budapest against
It's good
Hungary.
then too, yeah.
He was brilliant actually, and I was actually disappointed when I saw him come on. I said it's great for him to come on and get a cap. I wish Stephen had given him more time to make an impression. Boy, did he make an impression in Budapest in those 5 minutes. Very nearly scored, played really, really well. And then, unfortunately, he missed the last camp due to injury. So I know I'm biased because he did. He actually came to underage at Cork, but he moved to Limerick,
Yeah.
and he was brilliant for us before he went cross channel. And he's a really, really lovely guy as well. And look, I'm absolutely delighted for him, and I'm so proud he's somebody I was watching week in, week out in the Markets Field and away from home. Now playing for the national team as well. And I think he made a huge. He had a fantastic half an hour when he came on. He's mobile and he's good on the ball, and he was a real threat. And it was really great for him to get the goal in the 90th minute. And he doesn't score too many with his head, but certainly great to see it. And look, what can I say? I know I'm totally biased. With my Limerick and Irish bias, obviously, we're Irish Fan TV, but obviously my Limerick bias is not. I'm not going to try and hide that. But I'm absolutely fantastic, delighted to see him, and I hope he's around for many years to come, and I'm sure he will be because he does give us something different, and he is a threat, and I'd like to see him get a lot more game time, and if he's fit and available, why not?
Yeah, well, I'm going to come to Paul in a sec. It's just Cormac is in the comments there just saying about Ogbene, the amount of chances he made for Robinson as well. But Robinson actually took one off his head that he probably could have scored earlier on in the game, and he probably could have had two headers if they just had to communicate it better. And Shane Duffy had two-headed chances as well that he probably would have scored on another day. So we had plenty of chances there that we could have wrapped the game up even more. But obviously then, the 90th minute, as you said, Ogbene gets the third goal. Josh Cullen corner kick. And I must say, I don't know what's going on with my voice, lad, sorry. But I must say that, it's gone again. I must say that Josh Cullen has really stepped up because he's come in there and he takes set pieces now. And, he's obviously got the assist there with the Ogbene chance. And we've been very reliant over the years on Robbie Brady and Conor Howerton. But now we actually have someone like Josh Cullen who can come in and take these set pieces and free kicks and corners. And put them in real quality, as we've seen, and it then allows us to have maybe more of an athletic midfield and an energetic midfield, because I think Conor Howerton is a very good player, but I don't think he's as mobile as, say, a Hendrick or a McGrath, where he might have been in younger years, but he's getting to that age of 30, 31 now. So yeah, Paul, I suppose I'll come to you and you can tell me your thoughts from, I suppose, all the chances to the third goal and when Ogbene came on, in your opinion.
Just in terms of Ogbene, fair play to him. Got his head down, ran at people, wasn't afraid. Obviously, he came on against Hungary back in the summer as well. Similar, except he had more time in this game. He was brilliant, and that's what you want. You want an attacker to do that. You want them to run at the defenders, not be afraid, hold the ball up for other lads coming on, and take a chance when it's given to them. And that's what he did. I thought it was a lovely header and a lovely corner as well. And in terms of Josh Cullen, you were talking there, prime example of how a sitting midfielder should play, passes the ball well, can take a corner, doesn't lose the ball that much. And that's what we've needed for a while, really. And he's
always
playing
plays forward as well.
Yeah, always plays forward. If he has to play back, he plays back as well. He's playing week in, week out for Anderlecht. I think that's what you need. You mentioned Conor Hourhan there, probably unlucky not to be getting in, but it's just because Josh Cullen is playing so well. And you made a good point about Hendrick as well. More mobile, goes forward as well. And that works well when you have a sitter and then Hendrick beside him who can go on. And that creates more chances for us overall. In terms of the chances, look, they weren't taken, but 3-0 is still a great result. It's been a long time since we've said that. So, look, I'm delighted with it. And 3 goals are fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not critical
Oh
of the
yeah, I
team.
know.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
think that if we're playing against a team, Portugal or something like that, and we're getting those chances, like Aaron Connolly got in and got chances, we need to be putting those chances away because
Hmm.
we're getting in really good areas, but we just need to have that maybe composure and quality to finish the chances and put the game really to bed. Because I think we could have won this game if you're looking at maybe the chances that we created versus the chances that they created, and it probably could have finished 6-2. And I'm
Hmm.
talking about the two saves Bazunu made, and then you look at the chances that we missed. So their keeper was brutal, by the way. I don't know what he was doing behind the line
Hmm.
for Ogbene's goal. God knows,
We
but I can see that's probably why the fans get sick of watching them.
off
I,
the
I,
first
I,
game as well. That keeper was he wasn't great. Like he did make a lot of good saves for them in that game, but you can see he is a liability at times, and that's the problem for them. Why they won't kick on is that we have a goalkeeper that'll save us, get us like what they say in the Premier League, get you 12, 15 points a season. That goalkeeper is losing you 12, 15 points a season. That's the difference.
yeah,
Gary,
I
go
think in fairness to him, he did make some very good
Yeah.
saves, but he's one of those frustrating goalkeepers. As you said, Paul, he lets in goals he shouldn't let in. I mean, he certainly
Hmm.
let in two. He certainly should have stopped Dozie Ogbene's goal. Delighted he didn't. And obviously, Callum Robinson's second goal, he should have saved that. You would expect your goalkeeper to save those. He did make a number of saves, particularly at the early part of the second half, that did keep the score at 2-0. So you can see there is a goalkeeper there, but he needs to cut out those errors. He would be a very, very frustrating keeper to have on your side.
Hmm.
And but thankfully we've got Gavin Bazunu, who was obviously head and shoulders above him.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. But you got to remember, we had a lot of players, good players on our bench as well that will probably feature against Qatar, and it was good to go out and get that victory because he still has a lot of players there that he could probably rest for the game against Qatar. He's got James Collins, he's got Troy Parrott, he's got Aaron Connolly. And they're just the attacking players that I'm listing off. Connor Howard. We obviously know Troy came on late in the game and nearly scored as well. And Howard came on as well. So look, we the thing is he can maybe fiddle around with the team and not lose a massive amount of quality with the team that he maybe brings in against Qatar, because then the Stevens could step back in. I'd say Matt Doherty would probably start again just to give him that game time because he's not playing with Spurs. He could probably do with another 90 minutes under his belt. But there's good opportunities there. I'd say Nathan Collins will feature at some point to make his or get his first Ireland cap. So there's good positives to take from this. The only negatives I would say is that we maybe just didn't put away a lot more of our chances. We just need to be better at that. But it's not a huge negative. We won the game 3-0. Gary, you're gasping
Yeah,
there. Go on.
one thing I was going to say, and it could influence the selection on tomorrow night as well, is that, and I don't want to be overcritical, but I mean, Callum Robinson, Dozie Ogbene, etc., they haven't had game time together. They haven't had an understanding. So if he doesn't make too many changes, it will allow these players to build up the type of understanding you talked about, Paul, with Shane Duffy and John Egan. I mean, that takes time. It takes playing games together. And you could see that wasn't in place maybe when that's why we fluffed a couple of chances in the second half. And so there is an argument for sending out pretty much the same team against Qatar. And also the argument, maybe Stephen we've one defeat now in 7 games, and maybe Stephen just wants to go on and keep I was not going to say an unbeaten run, but that obviously excellent run of 1 defeat in 7 games, that becomes 1 in 8. You take that into the Portugal game, and you're going in with a lot of confidence. You make 7, 8, 9 changes against Qatar and you lose the game, and maybe that has an effect. It shouldn't, but I mean, the reality is we are talking, and there has been a lot of talk about Stephen Kenny's job, and he will probably have a bit of an eye to that, and that he won't want to lose to Qatar tomorrow night, because that will bring a lot of unwelcome comments, criticisms, etc. And in reality, tomorrow night doesn't matter. You could say that none of these games matter, but I think the remaining qualifiers do matter, and certainly the performances matter in them, and the results to some extent as well, to show that there is progress being made and to continue that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a tough one, but I can see a strong argument for sending out pretty much the same team, building up the understanding between the players, and maybe take that into November. But then, of course, there is a strong argument for giving the likes of Nathan Collins, as you say, a chance. And the guys you mentioned, the bench, Troy Parrott, Aaron
Well,
Connolly,
Troy's in
etc.
form
to
at MK
start.
Dons, you know.
He is, yeah, and he was actually being picked when he wasn't in form.
Yeah.
He was playing for the national team, and he's lost his place when he's finding form, scoring goals and getting assists. So yeah, but I mean that's down to others as well. I don't think you could make a case for Troy ahead of Callum Robinson at the moment, for example. Apart from
Almeida, I
to
think,
give him his chance. Yeah. Adam, as you say, had been sick, so. He didn't have his best hour in international football. So, yeah, maybe there's a case for giving him a rest, but he probably needs some game time at Norwich as well. So, it's a difficult one.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to finish on the stats because I know Paul has to be on his bike soon for work. So, just possession, they had 59%, we had 41%, which I thought was interesting considering the final result. They had 16 attempts, we had 18. They had 34 attacks, we had 23. They had 8 corners, and we had 4. I'm pretty sure we didn't get our first corner till like the 83rd minute as well, by the way. I remember them saying on the commentary. Then passes completed, 479 to them, 253 to us. Passes attempted, 577 to 342. And that's really it, yeah. 1 yellow card for us. 5 saves each for the keepers. 1 offside. We had 0 offsides. So that's the key stats. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us. Gary, it's great to see you back nice and healthy and after a safe flight as well. We're going to be doing the match preview shortly. So stay tuned for that, for the Qatar game. Me and Gary will be doing that in a little while. And Paul is going to jump off and head off. So, yeah. Huge thanks for everyone who joined in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. And for everyone who tuned in, wherever you're watching, whether it was in Rotterdam, someone said Jermid said Rotterdam, DJ Cronin's watching from Australia, and there was another guy who, Rory, is watching in Phoenix in the USA. So thanks, guys. We'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Great. Thanks, guys.